It's actually ridiculous. Hello everyone, welcome to my retro race. Finally, I have assembled every giant downhill bike that was ever made from the first through to the last, and I'm about to throw them and myself down this track here at Bike Park Wales. Around 45 seconds to 5 minutes depending on the bike. And the bikes we've got are the ATX 990, Giant's first ever downhill bike from 1996. My favourite giant downhill bike of all time, the iconic ATX1. We got the DH Team, a bike that I never got on with, and then the first Glory, which came out in about 2005, and the last version of the Giant Glory, the 2024 there. And I got these two acting as my mechanics for today. What could go wrong, lads, eh?
Nothing,
Joe
really.
and Jamie, what are we doing? What are we doing? I woke up at 4 AM. I'm pretty nervous about this because I remember how bad these bikes were, and I remember how bad the brakes were.
You need to be nervous. We've tried the brakes, haven't we?
Yeah.
Bad?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And after
really
walking it
bad.
yesterday, it's going to be slippery down there.
Yeah.
Great, awesome.
No brakes, slippery.
And,
Wet.
you know, to put things into perspective, these bikes, at best, probably like myself, have only got one run in them. That's how we're going to do it. I haven't set a leg over any of them except that one and the last one. This thing hasn't been pointed downhill for nearly 30 years. I'm worried about its structural integrity. I'm worried about my structural integrity. Let's get changed. Yep. Well, this is how we used to race them. In 1996, I only wore Lycra, so yeah. Right, let's have a look at this bike then. So, the first bike I'm gonna risk myself on is the ATX 90. 1996, the year I signed for Giant. Actually had a standard ATX 990 before that, which I think, how much travel's that got? 3 inches?
Yeah, about that.
And I think this has got 4, not 5,
They
4.
got different linkages.
Four and a
on
half,
this,
yeah,
don't
the
they?
different beefed up linkages on it.
So yeah, you can see it. And this actually, this frame here was the first proper downhill bike that Giant made. That was a production kind of, I don't know what that was, like a free ride type bike, wasn't it?
Trail bike, cross country bike.
Yeah, like a trail cross country bike. This actually, with its extra travel, slightly different geometry, was Giant's first ever downhill bike. But this was actually not built by them. It was built by
Caston.
Caston in California, a BMX frame manufacturer. And some weekends I would go through 3 of these frames. Like, they would crack, they were so soft. On these bikes, of course, keeping air in the tyres, keeping the chain on were big problems. Got this AC device. They were pretty good. You'll notice how big the front chain ring is. DCD. I always ran a 105 Shimano short cage rear mech on it.
You got your linkage for your Hope brake there.
That's right, because that was quite a new thing, wasn't it, to hold
Yeah.
the brake caliper in
You
position.
had to space the hub out so that the caliper fit behind there.
And we got the bigger nubs, which are really iconic, the Hope bigger nubs, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were, which were made bigger, right, to make shorter spokes, to make stiffer wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few different versions of the bigger hubs, and they're a different one as well.
That's
Is that right?
These are the
Yeah.
Gen 1, so they're much bigger in the centre.
So these are actually the hubs I'd have been on.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
bike is my actual frame that I won on, Caprun in 1996. And we built it up as originally as we can. The forks I'd have used would have had a different finish on them. They'd have been factory Z1s.
Yeah, these were the wheels you supplied. So
Yeah,
they're
so
probably
these
the original
wheels, I reckon these are the original wheels. Dad had these in his shed.
Yeah.
You did that video on your channel, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. Building this one up, so you can find that. But that, yeah, we've had these wheels. So these are probably the original hubs, original frame. The seats original.
Same tyres.
Same tyres, is it?
Yeah,
Is
you
that-
had
Did
factory
I?
DHs, I think.
Did I back then?
Yeah.
Mavic rims. I mean, there she is.
Beautiful.
Probably.
And these.
Oh my God, yeah. And then
don't
there's
forget the
these.
pedals.
There's these. So this is the base jump pedal. They're only on the markets 2 weeks, and a couple of people looking like they were going to sue us because they'd lost limbs and had quite severe lacerations. I apologise now if the settlement is still going through. But yeah, I'm going to risk it all on them now. I'm so nervous about this. That bike wasn't. Well, no, that's not fair. When I got on that bike 30 years ago, that was as good as getting on a Giant Glory. Now that, you know, all these bikes were absolutely.
That was the dogs, wasn't it?
It was state of the art. There was nothing better. And when I won on it in Caprun, I mean, the tracks were pretty flat back then, especially Capron, and this bike was actually perfect because it pedalled better than some of the early proper more downhill bikes like the ATX1 that we'll come to next. But yeah.
So how do you feel about the prospect of that now? Because that's pretty steep on that.
That is
now
so
it's pointing
steep.
downhill.
I don't think I rode down anything that steep back in the day. Oh my God. And in my career, I mean, there were other times I wore Lycra, but I only ever wore Lycra on the 990 before Palmer made mountain biking a bit cooler shortly afterwards. So for this one, yeah. Good job I looked after my physique, isn't it? This feels like literally the stupidest thing I've ever done, and that is saying something. I mean, that bike don't work as well as it did in 1996, does it? Do you think it does?
Not far off.
I'll be honest, I wasn't riding.
What am I doing here? I'm about to drop in. I haven't even ridden it down from the start. This is actually ridiculous. God. Lord.
On a bike.
Jesus Christ. It's not
Jesus
sure it wants to be
crackers.
ridden. I don't think it wants to be ridden. It feels completely unsafe. I think the stem just moved.
Nah,
No?
I don't know. You've had it a couple of years now.
That's tight.
I think if I was flexing before.
My nerves are getting all time here. We need to go. How long we got? Wait. Is this the bike I won a World Cup on? It feels ain't too bad. Now I'm getting into it. Some tree roots going. I'm flying. Yeah, this is good. Fast through there. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Brakes are still working a bit. Oh, Jesus Christ. That rear brake's gone. Ah, rear brake is gone. Completely gone. I'm on the front. This is. Now I've got a bit more back. Nice through there. And there we go. Oh, crosses the line. What's the time? What is the benchmark? That was
49.41.
a what? 41?
49.41.
49.41. So that is the benchmark. The brakes really weren't up to much. To be honest, actually, I was nervous as I set off and didn't trust the brakes out of the gate. But when I got into it, the bike actually, it was all right. I mean, miles better than a hardtail would be. And yeah, it was actually all right. I mean, it felt definitely not quite as bad as I'd have expected. So we've got a benchmark time. Let's go with the ATX1. We're up against it. It's going to be dark in that wood pretty early, so we've only got one run on these bikes really. The brakes did let go halfway down a bit, but they did work at the start, and I probably could have gone about 10 seconds quicker down the steep bit. No way! But once I got into the tree roots, it was like, actually it was all right to ride. There was a fair bit of grip, and really, like, back in the day, the brakes to me were the overriding thing. Like, it's a downhill bike, it's handy if you can stop. So to be honest, once I got down into the wood where it was slower and flatter, the bike actually felt all right. Like, it felt much better than say a hardtail would, and it's just like it was back in the day really. Like, my big gripe in the early days of downhill, and I'm fussy still to this day, is brakes.
They're very pedalable, aren't they?
It's light. It was very light and manoeuvrable, and the limited travel actually worked quite nicely down there at that speed. But it didn't feel as far off as I thought it would. It felt like felt quite nice, like an enduro bike would now. We're getting the ATX1 up. We're going to lower that seat a little bit, Joe. Are you going to take one out of this bike?
You just won't go in it lower. Oh, won't go in it
Steady,
lower,
mate.
that one. I know, it's slippy, isn't it?
You have to tell me about that. So this ATX1, right, I haven't set foot on it. This is the first time I've set eyes on it. It does look a lot like the bike that I would have ridden. It's got It's got the right fork, right shock, right bar, right stem. Probably not the right cranks, the right pedals. Wheels, again, they look like they're the right ones.
Everything's right, Rob. Yeah.
Is that actually very close to like a bike I'd have ridden, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the drop. Oh, mate, you got the drop crown on the RockShox.
Yeah.
The ATX one. This is my. I mean, look at it. This. I love the New Glory so much because it's throwback to these
Looks a lot
colours.
like it, doesn't it?
This is the
Yeah.
most iconic, in my opinion, the most iconic bicycle Giant ever made. You know, this bike here for me was like the height of the factory team. Miles Rockwell became world champion in 2000 on it, and this was like all singing, all dancing. The 990 had kind of got Giant into downhill because they had a big cross country team till then, and then this bike they really turned their attention to the sport of downhill. And actually, I think that this bike, I won 3 national titles on it.
Yeah.
You know, I had a good top 6 in the world on it as well. I had like 4 podiums in a year on this bike, and I think that this bike was probably a little bit better than all the bikes around it at the time. Like, to me, I felt like this bike gave me an advantage at the time.
It was a bit of a, I wouldn't say unfair advantage, but it was a bit of an advantage.
It was, wasn't it? It didn't pedal brilliant. In
That-
England, I couldn't do much here in the UK on it.
It's just started getting into the time when you didn't really have to pedal.
Less, that's right. It was coming, the tracks were getting
More
steeper,
aggressive.
Nevagals, Leger. Yeah, and this bike, you know, when it was rolling was absolutely unbelievable. The brakes, the Hope brakes did work on this a lot more. What are these, the 6 pots? 4 pots.
4 pots, DH4.
So yeah, these brakes were pretty. I remember these now starting to be really like good, strong brakes on it.
Still got the old levers, but
But the old adjusters, so I would have had different levers, would I, to these?
No, you've had them.
Those ones with the adjusters
But,
on the top. I used to
yeah.
love them, winding them up in the starter. This, very iconic that is, that stem brings back unbelievable memories. And is that as wide as them bars were?
Yeah, that's it.
Because
Yeah.
so the ATX 990 I just rode, the bars weren't cut down. They would have actually
no.
been even probably narrower than these.
Yeah, yeah.
And these I remember being about, well, how many inches are
About
they?
600 man.
600 mil wide bars. That's it. I mean, phew. And this bike, it was so factory and Giant was so into it that I remember testing with John Tomac in Santa Monica Mountains just outside LA where Giant are based, and we had a load of Taiwanese engineers with us, right? And they had laptops with them, and I remember we were like, yeah, do this, do that, and then literally 2 weeks later, sometimes black because they couldn't do all the colours, we'd get new prototype frames, and all those, like 2 weeks later, that is how factory Giant and downhill was in the
Miles.
mid-90s. It was absolutely, everyone was throwing everything into it. It was insane. Just being stood here, like looking at it, just brings back, phew, this is the bike, this was my career really, this bike was my career.
Was it this bike that you started using grip shift on?
Yeah, and it was always a funny thing, I never really, we did use it, but I'd often change gear by accident. I never,
when you're
yeah,
out
I
of
never really, I don't know if I really liked it or not, but you know, look how, like, just, it's just the colours and, like, AC. The wooden, these were unbelievable. If you get hold of a wooden rear derailleur back in the day, that was, like, next level.
Everything these days looks the same if you look at it in silhouette form.
Yeah, that's
nothing,
right. That's
nothing
right.
looks like an ATX
No.
one if you just blacked it
And,
out.
and like I said, you know, you could
Yeah,
have a real
yeah.
advantage with a bike like this. Probably those bike advantages are less now. We did have one with this. Should we do it?
Let's do
Should
it.
we point it downhill? That is bringing back some memories sat here, looking down on that quite distinctive bar and stem setup. I mean, this already feels like a downhill bike, and the ATX 990 definitely only feels like a cross-country bike. Like this, when we got the first time, we got triple clamps. Can we put a bit of air in that tyre?
That's cheating, that.
It's pretty soft. It's also very is that going to make it to the bottom? You seen the cracks in her?
That one because yeah, trail side the valve stuck.
What? So that's that. I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with. Still on 26. None of these bikes
We
even
have a little go.
until the last bike. We don't even go to a different wheel size, do we?
It's not doing it.
All these bikes are pre 27.5, except the last one.
By a long shot, yeah. I mean, by at least a decade.
By what, a decade?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really see 27.5 until, well, 29 was really 2010, and 27.5 came after that.
Oh, of course it did. I thought it was first.
No, it came after that because it was in response to people saying 29s were too big,
That's right.
and it was a big jump from 26 to be fair.
I'm ready to go here.
You'll find out today, jumping from 26 to 29 on a downhill bike.
Oh my God.
You haven't got a 27.5 glory here.
Christ, I'm ready to go. Cameras are all rolling.
Ready, Rob?
Now that is rough, it feels rougher. I'm going faster than the 990, but this is horrendous. Oh, the brakes are not great. Kicking away from it, like, it's not bad. These little tight bikes feel good, they feel quite good at this Nazary stuff. Over there, off the brakes now. Oh, I'm picking up speed. Oh, the choppy lines there. Probably on the wrong line, but this is miles ahead of the 990, actually. This is actually all right. Last few turns, this has been good. Still locking up that back brake, I think. Time's gonna be good on this one. What's he done? That felt great, like a World Cup winning run.
41.50.
Woo!
8 seconds faster.
8 up on the 990. Blimey. Probably, oh, hang on. Probably, I made a lot of that up out of the gate because I could instantly feel the brakes working. That actually felt great. I felt like a downhill bike. That was nice to ride. It had more traction. It didn't do anything too awkward on any routes. And probably the biggest thing that sets this aside from the later bikes is just how small it is. Like, it is a joke small. Like I said, the factory bike side would have been a bit bigger, but right, 2 down, 3 to go. Back to the top. Woo! So that bike felt good. Right out of the gate, the brakes worked. That did give me some confidence. But riding the bike, I mean, the overriding factor with that and the 990 is just how small they are. The front was higher on that, like it had decent riser bars in it. A lot like back in the day, the 990 was basically like a long travel XC bike. But again, you know, the back end was too soft, it was bottoming out, but I could feel that extra travel. It felt pretty good. It's, yeah, they're fun. It's funny riding them. What can I say? Amazing. All right, I was quicker.
Are you enjoying yourself?
8 seconds quicker, wasn't
8 minutes.
I? So far, so good. So that bike felt miles ahead of the 990 as it would. It is a proper downhill bike, like the first proper downhill bike. The next bike is this. Let's drag her into the light. The DH2. Now this is a bike that I never got on with. When was this bike? When did this one come? Because Miles won.
You probably had this in 2001.
Miles won Worlds on the ATX, not ATX1.
Yeah.
In 2000. And that bike was actually quite old by then, the ATX. We'd already been on it 4 or 5 years, the ATX1.
Still ahead of its time. It's still
I agree with
really
you,
well.
and it was a mistake to go to this bike, in my opinion at the time.
It ran way differently, didn't it?
It was, so this actually, my friend Tone's had this bike for 20 odd years, and it's exactly, apart from the front and the forks, as I got off it. And this is a factory frame, like this, as we said, the development was crazy, still in the early 2000s. And you can see that this is removable. There's another bit in it you can change as well, under
Sliding dropouts as well.
sliding dropouts here, different linkage here, and I had different parts. I think they were E, F and G, these bits, and these were A, B, C or something, and different combinations. And I remember being at home, probably as I shouldn't have been, like grinding bits and getting different mounts to fit and trying to get the bottom. In fact, my major problem with this was that I couldn't get the bottom bracket as low as I'd want it, and it wasn't as slack as I'd want it, as I remember. And I didn't have much success on this bike, but that might have been more because I was slowing down. I was done. It was the end of my career, really. I should have quit, but I stayed in the game because I was still a professional rider. But I never
talking you out of it.
What, taught me out of quitting?
Yeah.
Did you? I was going to quit around this time, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
I was done.
And you started helping Katie Kerr and people like
And
that.
team managing.
Yeah.
And in 2001, I don't know if it was on this bike though, I did make a big effort again, and I did end up 11th overall in the World Cup that
I can't
year.
remember I told you you're there to be beat. now.
Because I was one of the older statesmen, yeah.
And you were a measuring stick, weren't you, against all other riders coming through?
And it was a weird period as well because like Palmer stopped racing and the sport sort of collapsed at this time. There wasn't as many crowds, you know, the whole thing died. And I remember that really affected me as well, actually, the fact that there weren't tens of thousands of people screaming. I couldn't get motivated. It was the end of my career. And there ain't no reflection on this bike, but I couldn't get this bike to work. And like, you know, when you're always searching for answers as a racer, you blame everything else. And I actually refused to ride this. And do you remember the Giant Faith at the time, which was a free ride bike?
You rode that instead?
I raced that. I raced that at World Cup level. What an idiot. These ones work, do
They
they?
actually work, yeah.
Hope Motos. Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
Now, I probably didn't run these. I would have switched. I must have been on different brakes for this part of my career. I would probably been on SRAM or something. Yeah, I
You'd have
didn't
been
use
on
Hope
Hayes.
all the way through.
Hayes on this era.
Or Hayes, probably.
They're
Yeah, it was.
probably your original stickers on
Yeah,
the
it was
back.
Hayes. I was on Hayes. This is the original frame. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, so I was on Hayes. I've never ridden Hope Motos, but these are 6-pot brake.
Yeah.
I'm all about the brakes today. I'm all about the brakes. It's a little bit bigger, this bike. It looks a bit...
It's longer.
It does look a bit longer.
Definitely getting bigger as time goes on.
Everything started to get a bit longer and a bit bigger, didn't it?
Yeah, about now, about 2001. And this bike ran until...
04.
It did, didn't it? And it was a production
And
bike
then
as well.
05
There is, you find production ones of these about, yeah.
You run Manitous?
I, at one point in my career, I do seem to remember running Manitous, but I can't remember when.
The original Manitous on this would have had blue stickers.
What's the travel? This, if there's a lot of damp in there, but she feels like she's got more travel than the ATX one. Well, how much was that? 6-inch, I thought.
Yeah, and these are up to 7.5, 8.
Yeah, these were 8-inch.
These were an 8-inch travel bike.
Yeah.
So this is a modern downhill bike, the first sort of, at least on the travel. That's what they run now, isn't it? 8-inch, really, 200 mil.
This is where the suspension designs kind of moved on, travel stepped up. The only thing really, you know, changed massively from this then is wheel size. Now we're all on 20. You're on 29
Yeah,
inch.
and the actual size of the bike. Look at this beautiful. I'm just sat here looking at this beautiful tapered top tube. Yeah, it's cool, and I love the blue of these Giants. To me, apart from like the ATX colours, they never look better than in this blue.
Subaru blue, isn't it?
It's really, yeah, it is cool, isn't it? That's right. Yeah, she's good. So first bike, the 990 was about, we reckon, what, 4-inch? The factory
4.5,
one.
Yeah.
The ATX
6.
one was 6, and now we're on 8 inches of rear travel. All right, I'm ready to go. I feel a bit more confident. I'm feeling like I had a good run on the ATX one, to be honest. So I'm gonna have to go for it a bit now to beat it.
Getting nostalgic.
Yeah.
I won't. Yeah, I'm not. The nostalgia goes about there though, and it just turns into sheer terror. Anything I need to know about this one, Jay? This was actually my bike, but I haven't seen it for 20 years. But like, the brakes actually, they feel the best out of the lot. Can I attack?
That's progress for you.
Yeah, they might just slow you down.
That's the idea. Come on then.
You ready?
Bloody ready as I'm ever going to be. Ah! Oh, I let off the brakes there a bit. I'm going to let off down this. Yeah, I'm carrying more speed on this than length of it. And where the ATX1 was bottoming out, this is not. And it feels good through it. I'm picking it up over some roots. Nice. This is actually alright to ride. Much better. Carrying some speed. Yeah, it's good. I think the length of it helps as well. Oh, sized a bit there. Oh, oh, saved there. What's the time? Stop the clock! Slower, wasn't it?
41.50.
What did I do on the ATX one?
You were on 41.50.
Well, it's a dead heat.
Dead heat.
No way! Is it really? No way! So, I had a pretty catastrophic error there and nearly went over the handlebars. Did you see? Hopefully not. Oh, oh, so, otherwise I would have been quicker on this bike. And it did, I don't know, back in the day, I had so much success on the ATX one that I didn't like this bike, but riding it then, the extra length helped. the extra travel helped. I went a bit slower in a couple of spots because the back end of the ATX1 was bottoming out so hard, which Joe said they did. But yeah, woo! That was quite hard work. So that was a DH team, and it felt much better to me then than it ever did back in the day. It worked really nicely. I could feel the linkage working on that rear shock. Extra travel, it didn't bottom out. The whole geometry of the bike was more modern than the ATX1. It's bigger, it's longer, still 26, but it definitely rode better. And I actually felt like I could attack on that one a little bit more and be a bit more active, and felt confident to jump a few things. So yeah, all good. 3 down, 2 to go. That was much better than the ATX1. It rode nicer, but the time was no better, so that fits. But I made a cock up and now I need to go to the bottom and get my goggles. I left them down there.
No, they're here. You didn't use them?
Never.
Yeah.
What?
You
I've been
went
looking for 'em.
goggleless.
I went goggleless?
Yeah.
There you go. Back. Right, what's next? This is the first of the Giant Glory, the current model name of this bike. This one came out in 2006, and there's been 7 versions of this bike to that Glory there, the latest one that I'm going to ride in a minute. But this is actually one of my bikes as well. Tony kept this one for me also. It's pretty original in it, Jay, really. The forks are different, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't have run Triple H's on them back then, but the wheel set's all yours. It's all
The wheels have even got my hub stickers on.
Yeah.
This came at the very end of my career, right? I quit racing World Cup in 2006, so I might have raced some World Cup races on this bike.
Yeah, you probably did a couple later in the year, I would have thought.
In fact, 2006 I only raced Vigo. Would I have been on this bike?
Maybe we'd have to go back and check the.
Yeah,
check the
so I don't
photos,
know.
Don't we now?
I don't know how much I raced it, but I definitely rode it a lot. I got a lot of photos that Steve took of me on this bike, so, and it was good. I mean, it's very much the same. You can see it, like the way the shock moves, the way weird how they sat the shock through the frame.
Well, that was super distinctive when they brought it out. The pierced down tube with the shock hanging out the bottom.
A lot of
To get the longer shot.
manufacturers did the same thing.
Did they?
Yeah.
Why? Because it was so hard to form aluminium.
Yeah.
They didn't have those kind of.
I think this was one of the earlier ones to do that design and build like a cradle underneath for it.
And what's the travel on this? Then again, like
8 inches.
8 inch.
Up to
8
8, yeah.
inch. And this is going to be bigger again, right? If this is starting to look like a modern downhill bike. They're a little bit longer than this now, but it's not far off, is it? The geometry's coming.
Yeah,
No.
6-pot brakes as well.
Whoa, 6-pot brakes. Look how, I mean, it's not easy to see. There is the bottom bracket as high off the ground as I think it is.
They were
Not
pre-
really.
they
No.
were quite high,
Were they?
but they weren't. Yeah, they certainly weren't as high as some other brands, which were ridiculous.
They did rely upon the rider weight dropping it down.
I'm up against it now. That ain't a bad time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat it on this. And then if I can't beat it on
We've got a problem.
yeah, we got a real problem. Right, so get geared up.
Go
She
for
good
it,
to go?
yeah.
She
Yeah,
good to
yeah.
go?
Yeah.
I just got to tighten your pedals up.
Oh, we're off the base jumps on the Renfalls. That's going to be a big advantage.
There's a nut on floor. What's nut off?
What? Is that a problem, Joe? Is it off this bike?
I don't know.
Hold on.
Oh my god.
I think it's off one of these bike stands maybe.
Well,
I don't have bolts on them, mate.
No.
I don't mean to alarm you. Where is it?
Where's nut come from?
You know what that is? That's nut size.
not as nuts as you.
I have no.
Hey,
I have no idea what that's off of.
this ain't feeling too bad, this one. She's soft on the back. Oh, this is plush, isn't it? This is plusher than all the others, isn't it, Joe?
You think it is?
Feels nice here. I got a 41 to beat, ain't I?
Yeah, but you got a bit of a different linkage on that. It's more progressive, that.
She's soft. Feels like nice.
It's still going to be as short, so you're going to still...
Yeah, it isn't that big, is it?
Yeah, it's
My knees are
quite a bit
basically
size,
touching
yeah.
the bars.
Yeah.
Come on, Ed. before I steam up anymore.
Are we ready? You got your goggles
I
on?
remembered my goggles this time.
Yeah, right, okay.
They are steaming up. I'm keen to get going. Let's go! Oh, this rock, I feel definitely a bit more balanced than the others up there. They're nice and here. Yes, my line carried it across there. Back on the inside here, nice. And off the brakes, it's definitely going faster across here than on the other bikes. New tree roots there. Oh, I'm boogieing, this is good. I've even missed that big holes that near me over the bars last time. This is going to be fast. Going for the high line there. Oh my God, he risks it. For a biscuit, what's the time? Definitely quicker. Huh?
37.38.
Oh, yes. 37. 37.
4 seconds faster.
I felt it as well. That bike was so much plusher. I wouldn't have been, that really worked. It's still tiny, but actually it works. Everything worked on that bike nice. And the brakes were good enough. Suspension was great. The shorter geometry almost helps in some of these tight turns. I am learning the track a bit more. But where I nearly crashed on the DH team, I got high actually out of the hole, and I even dared, I had the confidence to run it around that top turn there, which I didn't on any other bikes. Yeah, woo, one to go from the old glory to the new one. So relieved to have gone fastest on the old glory. The new glory is coming. I mean, you know, no more travel than the bike I rode before it than a DH team, but everything on that bike works better. It's newer, better suspension, better brakes, better tyres. Everything moved on incrementally, really. But now we're going to notice a massive jump because I'm going from the first glory, which I think was 2006, 2007, to the most recent, the most current downhill bike on the planet, the latest Giant Glory, 2024. 16 years of technology between that bike and this one I'm going to ride now. This has to be the fastest run of the day. All right, lads, new fastest time. Smashed it.
Yeah?
I think I was 4 seconds quicker.
Yeah? Nice.
But that bike, that felt closer to this bike than anything else in the way. The geometry, it felt a little bit big. I felt comfortable on it, and the suspension,
Better brakes, better suspension,
everything,
more sophisticated.
because everything had moved on right by then. And that bike was actually, that bike, apart from the geometry of it and the fact that it was small, that felt pretty much, and everything wasn't quite as good, but that felt like a modern day downhill bike actually.
Yeah.
More than any of the previous. The DH team as well a bit. ATX felt a bit older, but like, yeah, they feel like they should really.
Yeah, good.
Well, it's quite mad, isn't it, to be able to actually ride these bikes and see them getting quicker and feel the difference, because the progression is there, but this is the biggest progression. This is now 16 years
Oh yeah,
between
massive.
the first glory and this one, and this glory is actually unbelievable. Let's get it in the light. All right, so this is, I can't tell you how much I love this bike. Of course I do. I haven't ridden like before a day a downhill bike for a long time, but to get on something the 2024 Giant Glory, the latest downhill bike they've made, it is absolutely breathtaking to ride for me. You know, like the difference in it is extraordinary to everything else. The main thing probably I noticed when I first rode this is the grip level. The grip, like the grip level, how fast you can go, how hard you can push in turns. And that's not just the tyres, that's not just the carbon rims. It's, you know,
It's all come together,
it's everything come together. The geometry, look how big it is. It's phenomenal. Of course, for the first time, we're not using 26-inch wheels here. You can use this as a mullet. I've run mine as a full 29. The carbon wheels are just unbelievable to ride on.
Slick.
We've got radial tyres on this bike as well, so that gives you even more grip. The geometry, I mean, this has got no more travel, right, than the last two bikes.
200 mil.
So the travel hasn't moved on in those years, right? I think there might be riders experimenting with a little bit more, like 220 and that I've heard, but generally it's still about the same travel. It feels like after all the linkages and everything we've seen in the past, it's almost a simpler bike.
Yeah, still adjustable linkage, and you've got adjustment on the back there. You've got
Flip
adjustment
chips.
on the dropouts, and you're
Yeah.
running it in the longest setting as well, longest wheelbase.
Yeah, they're all different flip chips there, so
Yeah.
as long as she can come.
Probably the first bike that suited you.
That's, well,
Size
you know
wise.
what? Yeah, Minar said the same, didn't he, when they invented 29-inch wheels? He was like, I mean, he was still racing, but he was like, finally they've made a bike that fits me. And actually, it's a bit frustrating being stood here, because, yeah, didn't out riding bikes that were made for child size to race World Cup downhill on back in the day, but it's mad in how it's progressed.
Well, I mean, progression this year with Schwalbe tyres particularly, and them Hope hubs are amazing, aren't
They are beautiful,
And
aren't they?
These are the best Hope brakes
So-
that have been. So.
They're not just the best oak brakes. I'd actually go as far as to say that they're the best brakes there's ever been.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that- They are, aren't they? They're extraordinary, aren't they? The feel and the power in
Yeah.
them brakes.
They're almost too good.
They are actually faultless. Yeah.
You don't have to hang off of them, do you? A modern
That's
brake.
the first faultless
Yeah.
brake
Yeah.
I've ever had. That's the first bike. That's the first brake I wouldn't criticise. That's saying something.
If you're not back 10 seconds faster, I'd be surprised.
We
pressure's
got
on.
60 mil rise, 70 mil riser bars on her as well. Some prototype Renfalls that have transformed the bike for me being tall as well. So this bike, all those bikes, some of them were mine, but they weren't set up for me. You did an amazing job turning up here with them. I've just jumped on them today. This bike I know. This is the one I ride all the time.
I'm surprised you could ride any of them now.
I have as well.
What length
I
brakes
think
are you
I've done quite well.
think
I think I've done all right. To get here
Yeah.
now in front of the last bike, I'm like, how did that happen? In the 90s, as like, you know, as a young fella pushing the boundaries, racing World Cup, I was into everything, tyre pressure, everything. You know, 0.1 of a pat, I'd notice it. Now, that bike is so far ahead of me that it's just perfect. Like there is nothing I can't criticise anything on that bike. That's you know, I couldn't make it any better.
And you've got your Olins on as well, which are like
Beautiful. The feel in the
They're
first
awesome,
part of the travel, yeah, they're amazing.
Buttery smooth.
They are buttery smooth. Shall we? Here she is. And this is like the size of it. It's like, it feels, it's on another scale to everything else I've ridden today.
Thank you very much.
Factory.
Factory.
Oh yeah. So I have literally no choice here than to smash that time. This is the latest, the greatest downhill bike. It's all singing, all dancing. The rider isn't. Let's go.
If you can't get 10 seconds off of this, you need to retire again.
10 seconds, Joe.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh no, my goggles.
Oh,
Hang on. No.
them goggles are going to
Oh, I'm nervous. This ain't good. This ain't good. I'm nervous.
No, it is good. It is good. You're going to go quick. Right.
I know I can have an advantage straight out of the gate. And I'm going to attack on this one straight out of the gate. No braking here. This fucking bump. It'll rough and go so much faster jumping in here. This tight left. Hold it round there for the big bike. Moving across a different line there. Oh, it's fast. I don't even have to worry about the bumps. Look, this is insanely quick compared to everything in the past. Just dancing down here. It's going to be fastest time of the day. I know it is. Last turn. Oh, what is it? Definitely quicker.
31.
What? Yes! 31! What was about 6 seconds quicker then? Yeah. Boom! That was a good run. Actually did feel quite good. I mean, I wouldn't win a World Cup or anything, but oh my God, that was great. Jesus Christ. That bike, there's nothing it won't do. It's better in the tight stuff, better on the fast stuff, better everywhere. It's an absolute joy to ride. And apart from being this out of breath, I've thoroughly enjoyed today. It's been unbelievable to pit the bikes over, you know, like 3 decades against each other, and you know, all this time on to see how much they've improved. It's just been, yeah, brilliant fun. And this bike, oh my god, that is just something else. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I beat myself. Woo! So that was an extraordinary day for me. 30 years of progression. I've ridden all the bikes and more that I used in my professional career. Thank you, Joe and Jamie, for bringing these bikes that were working, you know, and actually they were working like they were. The brakes weren't that good on that or one of the others, but that's how it
They
was.
weren't that good.
I was full of trepidation for this, nervous, you know. But
Me too.
Yeah.
Thing is, we didn't ride a lot of these.
Yeah, let's be honest. So what an unbelievable day for me to be amongst my old race bikes, to ride them all, to race them all again. That brought back lots of like,
Cheers, bro.
that was unbelievable for me. I can't tell you how that felt. Yeah, so good. So should we do it again in 10 years' time?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Right, find another rider. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.